Hey there, you. Yes, you, scrolling through YouTube, looking for something that'll hit you right in the heart and maybe even change the way you see the world. What if I told you that one man's life, a single moment of impossible choice, could unravel a mystery so profound it might make you question everything you believe about fate, faith, and the power of destiny? Picture this, a priest, standing at the edge of a decision that could either save a soul or shatter his own, with no way to know which path leads to redemption. That's the story we're diving into today, and I promise you, it's going to grip you, move you, and keep you glued to this screen until the very last second. This is The Power of Destiny, a priest's life-changing story, and I'm here to take you on a journey that's as real as it gets raw, human, and packed with the kind of emotional twists that'll leave you thinking about it for days. So, grab a coffee, settle in, and let's talk about why you're here, because I know you're searching for something deeper, something that answers the big questions we all wrestle with. Why do things happen the way they do? Is there a plan for us, or are we just stumbling through life? By the end of this video, you're going to get answers not just to those questions, but to the mystery of what happened to this priest and how it changed everything. Stick with me, because I'm talking directly to you, and I'm not letting you go until we uncover the truth together. You're here because you're curious, aren't you? Maybe you've felt that tug in your chest, that whisper that there's more to life than what's on the surface. Maybe you've had moments where you've wondered if the universe is trying to tell you something, guiding you toward a path you can't quite see yet. That's exactly what this story is about, and I'm going to make you feel like you're right there with this priest, whose name is Father Daniel, as he faces the kind of moment that could define a lifetime. Let me set the scene for you, a small, quiet town in the heart of America, the kind of place where everyone knows your name and the church bells ring every Sunday like clockwork. Father Daniel's been the rock of this community for years, always there with a kind word, a warm smile, and a faith so steady it could weather any storm. But beneath that calm exterior, there's a man carrying a weight, a secret he's never shared, not even with the people who trust him most. You see, Father Daniel wasn't always a priest. Long before he wore the collar, he was someone else entirely, someone who made a choice that's haunted him ever since. And now, decades later, that choice is coming back, threatening to unravel everything he's built. I know you're already wondering, what did he do? What's the secret? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you, but not just yet. This story's too big to rush, and I want you to feel every beat of it, to connect with Father Daniel the way I did when I first heard about him. Because this isn't just his story, it's ours, too. It's about the moments that test us, the ones that make us question who we are and what we're meant to do. And I'm betting you've had moments like that, haven't you? Moments where you stood at a crossroads, not sure which way to go, but knowing deep down that your choice would change everything. Let's talk about why this matters to you. Right now, you're sitting there, maybe on your couch or sneaking a watch during a lunch break, and you're giving me your time, your most precious resource. I don't take that lightly. I know you could be anywhere else on YouTube, watching trending challenges, motivational speeches, or the latest viral prank. But you chose this video because you're looking for something real, something that speaks to the part of you that wonders about life's bigger picture. That's why I'm here, speaking straight to you, like we're old friends catching up over a campfire. I want you to feel like you're part of this story, like you're walking beside Father Daniel as he navigates a world that's suddenly turned upside down. This isn't just another YouTube video, it's a conversation between us, a shared experience that's going to make you laugh, maybe cry, and definitely think. And here's my promise to you, if you stick with me through this, you're going to walk away with something powerful, not just the answer to what happens to Father Daniel, but a new way of looking at your own life. You're going to see how destiny works in ways you never imagined, how one moment can ripple out and change everything. But to get there, I need you to trust me. I need you to keep watching, because every second of this story builds toward a truth that's worth your time. And I know you're hooked already, aren't you? That little spark of curiosity in your mind is telling you to keep going, to find out what's at the heart of this priest's life-changing story. Don't click away, not yet. You're too close to something special. Let's dive a little deeper into Father Daniel's world, but I'm going to keep some things close to the chest because I want you to feel that pull, that need to know more. Imagine a man who's spent his life serving others, who's listened to countless confessions, offered guidance through heartbreak and loss, and stood as a pillar of hope for a community that leans on him. Father Daniel's in his late 50s now, with kind eyes that crinkle when he smiles and a voice that's soft but carries the weight of someone who's seen it all. He's the kind of person you'd trust instantly, the kind of person you'd tell your deepest secrets to without hesitation. But even someone like Father Daniel has shadows in his past, moments he's tried to bury under years of prayer and good deeds. And those shadows? They're starting to creep back into his life, stirred up by a stranger who shows up in town one rainy evening, carrying a message that turns Father Daniel's world upside down. I'm not going to tell you who this stranger is or what they want, not yet, but I will say this. Their arrival sets off a chain of events that forces Father Daniel to confront the one thing he's been running from his whole life. You're probably thinking, come on, just tell me what it is. I get it, I do. That itch to know the truth is what's going to keep you here, and I'm counting on it. Because this story isn't just about Father Daniel's past, it's about the choice he has to make now, a choice that could either save someone he loves or destroy everything he's worked for. And that choice? It's tied to the very idea of destiny, to the question of whether our lives are guided by some greater plan or if we're just making it up as we go. Now, let's talk about you again, because this story isn't just about Father Daniel, it's about what it means to be human, to wrestle with the big stuff like faith, purpose, and the paths we choose. I know you've got your own story, your own moments where life threw you a curveball and you had to decide what to do next. Maybe it was a job you took or didn't take, a relationship you fought for or let go, a dream you chased or left behind. Those moments shape us, don't they? They're the threads that weave together to make us who we are. And that's why Father Daniel's story is going to hit you so hard, because it's not just his struggle, it's yours too. You're going to see yourself in him, in the way he grapples with doubt, fear, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, there's a reason for it all. I want you to feel that connection, to let yourself get lost in this story the way I did when I first started putting it together. Because here's the thing, stories like this don't just entertain, they change us. They make us think about our own lives, our own choices, and the power we have to shape our own destinies. And I'm not just throwing around buzzwords here, destiny, faith, redemption, these are the themes that run through every beat of this story, and they're going to resonate with you in ways you didn't expect. You're already invested, I can tell. You're already wondering what's going to happen to Father Daniel, what this stranger's message means, and how it's all going to play out. And that's exactly where I want you, because we're just getting started. Let's set the tone for what's coming, because this isn't going to be a light, fluffy tale. This is a story with weight, with stakes that feel real and raw. Picture a stormy night, the kind where the rain beats against the windows and the wind howls like it's carrying secrets. That's where we find Father Daniel, alone in his small church, the flickering light of candles casting shadows on the walls. He's kneeling in prayer, but it's not the peaceful kind, it's the kind where you're begging for answers, where your heart's pounding and your mind's racing because you know something's coming, something you can't avoid. That's the atmosphere of this story, intense, emotional, and charged with a sense of inevitability. You're going to feel like you're right there with him, your pulse quickening as the mystery deepens. And the conflict? Oh, it's a doozy. It's not just about Father Daniel versus his past, it's about Father Daniel versus himself, versus the beliefs he's held onto for decades, versus the very idea of what it means to be a good man. You're going to see him wrestle with questions that don't have easy answers, questions that'll make you think about your own life and the choices you've made. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, this story's going to take you to some heavy places, but it's also going to lift you up, because at its core, it's about hope, about the incredible things that can happen when we face our fears and trust in something bigger than ourselves. You're feeling it already, aren't you? That pull to keep going, to find out what happens next. That's the power of a good story, and I'm not letting you off the hook. Here's where I make my master move to keep you locked in, because I know how easy it is to get distracted on YouTube. There's a million other videos out there, but none of them are going to give you what this one will. I'm not just telling you a story, I'm inviting you into it. I'm asking you to trust me, to let yourself get swept up in Father Daniel's world, because I know you're going to find something here that speaks to you. Maybe it's the way his story mirrors your own struggles, or maybe it's the way it challenges you to think about your own beliefs. Whatever it is, I'm promising you right now, you're not going to regret sticking with this. Every minute you spend here is going to build toward a moment that'll make your jaw drop, A revelation that's going to make you see everything in a new light. And I'm not going to let you miss it. So, here's what I need from you. Keep watching. Don't pause, don't skip ahead, don't let that notification ping pull you away. You're in this with me now, and I'm counting on you to see it through. Because Father Daniel's story isn't just about him, it's about all of us, about the incredible, messy, beautiful thing that is life. And the best part? You're going to get the answers you came for. You're going to find out what that stranger said, what Father Daniel's secret is, and how it all ties into the power of destiny. But you've got to stay with me, because the truth is worth it. Let's introduce one more piece of the puzzle before we leave you hanging, because I want to make sure you're so invested you can't look away. The stranger who shows up in town isn't just anyone, there's someone who knows Father Daniel in a way no one else does. They're carrying a letter, sealed and worn, like it's been held onto for years. And when Father Daniel sees it, his face changes, his calm, steady demeanor cracks, just for a moment, and you can see the fear in his eyes. What's in that letter? Why does it shake him so deeply? I'm not going to tell you yet, but I will say this, it's tied to a promise he made long ago, a promise he thought he'd kept, but now he's not so sure. That promise is the heart of this story, the thread that ties together every choice, every moment, every question about destiny and faith. You're dying to know more, aren't you? Good. That's exactly where I want you, because this is where we pause, right on the edge of something huge. Father Daniel's standing in that church, the letter in his trembling hands, the storm raging outside, and he's about to make a decision that could change everything, not just for him, but for everyone he loves. What's he going to do? What's in that letter? And how is it going to test everything he believes? You're going to have to keep watching to find out, because the next part of this story is where things get real. Don't go anywhere, you won't forgive yourself if you miss this. You're still here, aren't you? I knew you wouldn't click away, not when we're standing on the edge of a mystery that's only getting deeper, with Father Daniel clutching that mysterious letter in a church that feels like it's holding its breath. The storm outside is howling louder now, rattling the stained glass windows, and you can feel the weight of what's coming, can't you? That electric charge in the air, the kind that makes your skin prickle because you know something big is about to happen. I'm so glad you're sticking with me, because this is where the power of destiny, a priest's life-changing story, starts to twist and turn, pulling you further into Father Daniel's world, a world that's starting to crack under the pressure of secrets, choices, and a past that refuses to stay buried. I'm talking straight to you, just like I promised, and I want you to feel like you're right there in that small American town, watching this unfold, wondering who's pulling the strings and what's really at stake. Let's dive into Father Daniel's life, peel back the layers of who he is and what's been happening lately, because the clues to this mystery are hiding in the details of his days, his relationships, and the people around him. But don't get too comfortable, I'm going to throw in just enough shadows and question marks to keep you guessing, to make you wonder who's telling the truth and what that letter really means. By the end of this part, you're going to be even more hooked, itching to know how it all connects, so let's keep going, you and me, into the heart of this story. Father Daniel's life, up until that stormy night, has been the picture of quiet devotion, the kind of steady rhythm you'd expect from a small-town priest in the heart of America. 4 years, he's been the anchor of St. Mary's Church, a modest brick building that stood in this town for generations, its steeple a familiar landmark against the rolling hills. Every Sunday, he delivers sermons that blend wisdom with warmth, the kind that make people feel seen, like he's speaking directly to their struggles. He's got this way about him, calm, grounded, with a laugh that crinkles his eyes and makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. But lately, if you look closely, there's been a subtle shift in Father Daniel, a restlessness that's hard to pin down. Parishioners have noticed he's been spending more time alone, lingering in the church long after evening prayers, his silhouette visible through the windows as he paces the aisles. Some say he's been distracted, his homilies a little shorter, his gaze drifting during coffee hour like he's searching for something or someone in the crowd. You're probably wondering what's got him so unsettled, aren't you? I'll give you a hint. It started about 6 months ago, when a series of strange events began rippling through the town, events that seem ordinary on the surface but feel like pieces of a puzzle when you line them up. And Father Daniel? He's right at the center of it all, whether he wants to be or not. You're already trying to piece it together, I can tell, but hold on, let's walk through this carefully, because the truth is slippery, and I want you to feel the weight of every step. Let's talk about those events, because they're the threads that lead us to that letter in Father Daniel's hands. 6 months ago, the town was buzzing with its usual rhythm, kids playing in the park, farmers' markets every Saturday, the diner serving bottomless coffee to the same faces day after day. But then, small things started to feel off. A stranger was spotted at the edge of town, not the one who brought the letter, but someone else, a woman in her 40s, always wearing a scarf despite the warm weather, sitting quietly in the back of St. Mary's during Mass. She never spoke to anyone, never stayed for coffee, but Father Daniel noticed her. People saw him watching her, his face unreadable, and some whispered that he seemed nervous, like he recognized her but didn't want to admit it. Then there were the late-night phone calls to the rectory, calls Father Daniel would take in hushed tones, stepping outside so the housekeeper couldn't overhear. Nobody knows who was on the other end, but after those calls, he'd be quieter the next day, his sermons laced with talk of forgiveness and second chances, themes that felt more personal than usual. And then there was the old journal, leather-bound, worn at the edges, that someone saw him carrying, tucking it quickly into his coat when he thought no one was looking. You're starting to see the picture, aren't you? These little moments, these fragments of a life that's supposed to be simple, they're building toward something. But what? Is the woman in the scarf connected to the letter? Are the phone calls tied to Father Daniel's past? And that journal, what's in it that's got him so guarded? I'm not going to answer those questions just yet, because I want you to feel the same uncertainty Father Daniel's feeling, that gnawing sense that the truth is close but just out of reach. Now, let's talk about the people in Father Daniel's orbit, because no man's an island, and the relationship sagarad.io/API/priest-story-continuation.jpg relationships around him are as tangled as the mystery itself. There's Margaret, the church's longtime housekeeper, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s who's known Father Daniel since he arrived in town 20 years ago. She's fiercely loyal, always bustling around the rectory with a sharp tongue and a heart of gold, but lately, she's been quieter, her eyes lingering on Father Daniel when she thinks he's not looking. Could she know something about his past, something she's kept quiet all these years? Then there's Tom, the town's handyman, a gruff former Marine who's been spending more time at the church, fixing things that don't seem broken, always watching Father Daniel with a mix of respect and something else, suspicion, maybe. Tom's got his own demons, a past he doesn't talk about, and some say he's been asking questions about Father Daniel's history, poking around where he shouldn't. And let's not forget Emily, a young schoolteacher who's been coming to Father Daniel for guidance, her faith shaken after a personal loss. She's vulnerable, looking to him for answers, but there's a sharpness in her questions, a way she watches him that feels almost too intense. Could one of them be connected to the stranger with the letter? Are they hiding their own secrets, or are they just caught up in the same storm as Father Daniel? You're starting to wonder who you can trust, aren't you? That's exactly how I want you to feel, because in this story, everyone's a potential suspect, and every glance, every word, could be a clue or a distraction. As these threads weave together, the tension in Father Daniel's life has been building, like a storm gathering strength before it breaks. The woman in the scarf stopped coming to church a month ago, but not before leaving a single white rose on the pew where she always sat, a gesture that left Father Daniel pale, his hands shaking as he picked it up. The phone calls have stopped, but now there are letters, not the one from the stranger, but smaller notes, slipped under the rectory door, with cryptic messages like "the truth will find you and you can't run forever." Father Daniel hasn't told anyone about them, but Margaret caught him burning one in the fireplace, his face haunted as the flames consumed it. And that journal? He's been seen writing in it late at night, his pen moving furiously, like he's racing against time. You're dying to know what's in those pages, aren't you? Is it a confession, a record of his past, or something else entirely? The town itself feels like it's holding its breath, the usual chatter in the diner quieter now, eyes darting toward Father Daniel whenever he passes by. It's as if everyone senses something's coming, something that could shake this community to its core. And then, on that stormy night, the stranger arrives, their coat dripping with rain, their voice low and urgent as they hand Father Daniel that sealed letter. You can feel the weight of it, can't you? The way it changes everything, the way it pulls all these threads, scarf woman, phone calls, journal, notes, into a single, terrifying question. What is Father Daniel hiding, and what will happen when it's finally revealed? You're hooked now, I know it. Your mind's racing, trying to connect the dots, but every answer seems to lead to more questions. Is the woman in the scarf the key to this mystery, or is she just a red herring, someone from Father Daniel's past who means nothing now? Is Margaret's loyalty hiding a deeper knowledge, or is she just worried about the man she's served for years? What about Tom? Could his questions be innocent, or does he know more than he's letting on? And Emily, her intensity, her pain, could she be involved, or is she just a lost soul caught in the crossfire? You're right there with Father Daniel, feeling the walls close in, the past catching up, the truth clawing its way to the surface. And that letter, still unopened in his hands, holds the key to it all. You're desperate to know what's inside, aren't you? What words could shake a man like Father Daniel, a man who's faced countless storms with unshakable faith? You're not alone, I'm right there with you, my heart pounding as we stand on the edge of this moment. But I'm not going to open that letter yet. I want you to feel the suspense, to let it sink into your bones, because the truth is coming, and it's going to hit harder than you expect. Keep watching, because the next part of this story is going to pull you even deeper, and I promise, you won't see what's coming. You're still with me, aren't you? I can feel your curiosity burning through the screen, your need to know what's in that letter Father Daniel's holding, what secrets are unraveling in this small American town where the air feels thick with suspicion. That stormy night in St. Mary's Church, with the rain pounding and the candles flickering, has you hooked, and I'm not letting you go, not when the power of destiny, a priest's life-changing story, is about to throw you into a whirlwind of new obstacles, betrayals, and twists that'll make your heart race. I'm talking straight to you, just like we're sitting across from each other, piecing together this mystery together, because you're not just watching this, you're living it with Father Daniel, feeling the weight of every choice, every shadow that's creeping closer. The truth he's chasing is slipping further away, blocked by forces he can't quite see, and I want you to feel that frustration, that desperate need to know what's going on. Let's dive back into his world, where every step forward seems to pull him deeper into a maze of doubt and danger, and where the past is no longer a memory, it's a living, breathing threat. Stick with me, because I'm about to make this story even more immersive, with surprises that'll keep you guessing and a twist that'll leave you gasping. You ready? Let's go. Father Daniel's hands are still trembling as he holds that sealed letter, the stranger's footsteps echoing in his mind as they disappeared into the storm. He hasn't opened it yet, something's holding him back, a gut feeling that whatever's inside will change everything. But the weight of it, the worn edges of the envelope, the way it smells faintly of old paper and something metallic, like blood or rust, it's haunting him. He tucks it into his coat and heads to the rectory, determined to figure out what's happening, but the universe seems to have other plans. The next morning, he wakes to find the rectory in disarray, not a full-on break-in, but subtle signs that someone's been there. Drawers slightly ajar, books on his desk shifted, and worst of all, that leather-bound journal he's been writing in, the one that holds his deepest thoughts and maybe even clues to his past, it's gone. Vanished, like it was never there. You can imagine the panic, can't you? That sinking feeling in your chest when something precious, something private, is just gone. Father Daniel tears through the rectory, checking every corner, but it's nowhere to be found. He's starting to wonder if he's losing his mind, if the stress of the stranger's visit and those cryptic notes from weeks ago is making him see things that aren't there. But then he finds it, a single page torn from the journal, left on his bedside table, with one word scrawled in red ink: stop. You're feeling it now, aren't you? That chill down your spine, the realization that someone's watching him, someone who knows what is hiding and wants him to back off. But who? And why now, after all these years? The mystery's getting thicker, and Father Daniel's not the only one feeling the pressure. You're right there with him, your mind racing to figure out who's pulling the strings. As if the missing journal and that ominous warning weren't enough, Father Daniel's search for answers hits another wall when he tries to track down the stranger who delivered the letter. The town's small, the kind of place where newcomers stick out like a sore thumb, but no one's seen this person, no one except Tom, the handyman, who mentions in passing that he saw a figure in a dark coat near the church the night of the storm. But when Father Daniel presses him for details, Tom clams up, his eyes darting away, muttering something about not wanting to get involved. It's strange, isn't it? Tom's always been rough around the edges, But he's never been evasive like this, and it's got Father Daniel wondering if Tom knows more than he's letting on. Could he have something to do with the journal's disappearance? Or is he just caught in the same web of secrets as everyone else? The uncertainty is eating at Father Daniel, and it's eating at you too, because every time you think you're getting closer to the truth, something or someone throws up a new barrier. And then there's Margaret, the housekeeper, who's been acting stranger than usual. She's always been a rock, keeping the rectory running like clockwork, but now she's hovering, asking Father Daniel if he's sure he wants to keep digging into things best left alone. Her words are gentle, but there's an edge to them, a warning that feels personal. You're starting to wonder about her, aren't you? Has she been loyal all these years, or is there something she's hiding, something tied to that missing journal or the letter that's got Father Daniel so shaken? The obstacles are piling up, and the truth feels further away than ever, but there's something else bubbling under the surface, something from Father Daniel's past that's about to make this mystery even more complicated. Let's peel back another layer, because the heart of this story lies in what Father Daniel's been running from all these years, a secret that's been buried so deep it's almost become a myth to him. Long before he was a priest, before he found his calling in this quiet town, Father Daniel was a different man, a man named Daniel Harper, living in a bustling city hundreds of miles away, caught up in a life that was anything but holy. He doesn't talk about it, not even to Margaret, but there are whispers in his journal, fragments of a story that paint a picture of a young man tangled in a dangerous promise. Back then, Daniel was close to someone, a friend, maybe more, who trusted him with something precious, something that came with a cost. The details are hazy, locked away in that stolen journal, but one thing's clear: Daniel made a choice that betrayed that trust, a choice that left someone hurt, maybe even destroyed. Was it a lie? A theft? Something worse? He's spent decades trying to atone for it, building a life of service to drown out the guilt, but that letter, those notes, the stranger, they're all tied to that betrayal, pulling it back into the light. You can feel the weight of it, can't you? The way it's shaped every step Father Daniel's taken, the way it's haunting him now as he tries to uncover the truth. But here's where it gets murky. Someone else knows about that betrayal, someone who's been watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike. And that someone might be closer than he thinks, hiding among the faces he sees every day: Margaret, Tom, maybe even Emily, the schoolteacher who's been leaning on him for guidance. You're starting to question everyone, just like Father Daniel is, and that's exactly where I want you, because trust is a fragile thing in this story, and it's about to be tested in a way you won't see coming. The tension's ramping up now, and Father Daniel's not just fighting external obstacles, he's battling himself, his own doubts and fears that he's not strong enough to face what's coming. He's been praying more than ever, kneeling in the church until his knees ache, asking for guidance, for courage, for a sign that he's on the right path. But the answers aren't coming, and the silence is deafening. Father Daniel's stunned, his mind racing as he tries to piece it together, but before he can answer, Emily's eyes narrow, and she says something that stops him cold. "My mother warned me about you. She said you'd ruin everything if you ever came back into our lives." You can feel the floor drop out, can't you? This isn't just a clue, it's a bombshell, a hint that Father Daniel's past isn't just catching up, it's colliding with the present in ways he never imagined. Is Emily an ally, or is she playing a deeper game? Did her mother know about the betrayal, and if so, what did she mean by ruin everything? The questions are piling up, and Father Daniel's no closer to the truth, especially now that the journal's gone and the letters still unopened, burning a hole in his pocket. Here's where things take an unexpected turn, because just when you think you've got a handle on this mystery, the ground shifts again. Father Daniel decides to confront Margaret about the journal, hoping she might have seen something the night it disappeared. But when he asks her, her face changes: fear, guilt, something he can't quite read. She admits she saw someone outside the rectory that night, a figure in the shadows, but she swears she didn't get a good look. Then, in a whisper, she tells him to stop looking for the journal, to let the past stay buried, because some truths aren't worth the pain they bring. It's a warning, but it's also a confession. She knows more than she's saying, and Father Daniel's starting to wonder if she's been keeping secrets all these years. Before he can press her further, there's a knock at the door, sharp and urgent. It's Tom, his face grim, holding something in his hand, a key, old and rusted, with a tag that reads Harper. You're on the edge of your seat now, aren't you? That name, Harper, Father Daniel's old name, it's a link to his past, a clue that could unlock everything. But Tom's not handing it over. He's staring at Father Daniel, his voice low and steady. You need to tell me what this opens, Father. Because I found it where it shouldn't be, and I'm starting to think you're not who you say you are. The room feels like it's closing in, the air thick with suspicion, and Father Daniel's caught, trapped between a missing journal, a cryptic photograph, a sealed letter, and now this key that could lead to answers, or to something far more dangerous. What does it open? Who's behind this? And can Father Daniel trust anyone, even himself, to uncover the truth? You're dying to know, and so am I, but you'll have to keep watching, because this twist is just the beginning, and the next part's going to blow your mind. That you're still right here with me, aren't you? Your heart's pounding, your mind's spinning, trying to untangle the web we've woven in this small American town where Father Daniel's life is unraveling faster than he can keep up. That moment in the rectory, with Tom holding that rusted key marked Harper and staring at Father Daniel like he's a stranger, has you on the edge of your seat, and I'm not about to let you go. The Power of Destiny, a priest's life-changing story, is diving deeper now, and I'm talking straight to you, pulling you into a world where every clue feels like a trap, every ally might be a liar, and the truth is more elusive than ever. Just when you thought you had a grip on this mystery, with the missing journal, the cryptic photograph, Margaret's warning, and that unopened letter burning a hole in Father Daniel's pocket, I'm about to throw in a secondary storyline that's going to make everything twice as complicated, twice as intense. The stakes are climbing, and you're going to start questioning everyone's motives, wondering who's pulling the strings and why. Picture this: another person, someone close to Father Daniel, gets tangled in the same shadowy game, receiving a message that echoes the priest's nightmare, and suddenly, the mystery isn't just about his past, it's spreading, infecting the people around him, making you doubt everything you thought you knew. Let's step back into this storm, you and me, and watch as the tension skyrockets, leaving us with more questions than answers and a twist that'll keep you glued to this story. Don't even think about clicking away, you're too deep in now, and the ride's only getting wilder. The air in the rectory is thick with suspicion as Father Daniel stares at the key in Tom's hand, its rusted surface catching the dim light, the word Harper like a ghost from a life he thought he'd left behind. Tom's words, "I'm starting to think you're not who you say you are," hang between them, sharp and heavy, and Father Daniel's mind is racing, trying to figure out what the key unlocks and why Tom, of all people, is holding it. He's about to demand answers when the rectory door swings open, and Emily, the young schoolteacher, bursts in, her face pale, her hands clutching a small, folded piece of paper. She's trembling, her eyes darting between Father Daniel and Tom, and before anyone can speak, she thrusts the paper toward the priest, her voice shaking as she says she found it slipped under her apartment door this morning. Father Daniel unfolds it, his heart sinking as he reads the words scrawled in the same red ink as the torn journal page. You can't hide what he did. You can feel the chill, can't you? The way those words echo the warning left for Father Daniel, tying Emily to this mystery in a way that makes your stomach twist. She's terrified, rambling about how she doesn't understand what it means, how she's been feeling watched for weeks, ever since she gave Father Daniel that old photograph of him with her mother. The photograph, the one that hinted at a connection to the scarf-wearing woman from months ago, is now a blazing red flag, and you're starting to wonder, is Emily a victim, caught in the same trap as Father Daniel, or is she playing a part in this, her fear just a mask for something deeper? The room feels smaller now, the walls closing in as three people, Father Daniel, Tom, and Emily, stand frozen, each holding a piece of a puzzle that's growing more dangerous by the second. You're hooked, aren't you? Because this new message isn't just a clue, it's a sign that the mystery is spreading, and no one's safe. Let's pull back and look at Emily's role in this, because her sudden involvement is like a match thrown into dry grass, setting everything ablaze. Emily's been a quiet presence in Father Daniel's life, a young woman in her late 20s who started coming to St. Mary's after her mother's death last year, seeking comfort in the church's familiar rituals. She's always been soft-spoken, her grief palpable, but there's a sharpness to her, a way she asks questions about faith and forgiveness that feels almost too pointed, like she's searching for something specific. Father Daniel's been drawn to her vulnerability, seeing her as someone he can help, but now, with this note in her hands, he's not so sure. The note's message, "You can't hide what he did," seems to point straight at him, but Emily's reaction is what's throwing him off. She's not just scared, She's angry, her eyes flashing as she demands to know what he did, why her mother's photograph is tied to this, and why someone's targeting her. You're starting to question her motives, aren't you? Because the timing feels too perfect, first the photograph, now this note, both showing up just as Father Daniel's past is clawing its way back. Could Emily be more involved than she's letting on? Is she really a bystander, or does she know something about her mother's connection to Father Daniel's old life as Daniel Harper? And then there's the photograph itself, which Father Daniel's been keeping in his desk, only to find it missing this morning, just like his journal. You can feel the ground shifting, the pieces of this mystery slipping out of reach, and it's making you doubt everyone: Emily, Tom, even Margaret, who's been hovering in the background, her face unreadable as she listens to Emily's story. The stakes are higher now, because this isn't just about Father Daniel anymore, it's about who else is caught in this web and what they're willing to do to keep their secrets buried. To make things even messier, let's dive into a new contradiction that's turning everything Father Daniel thought he knew upside down. He's been wrestling with the idea that his past betrayal, the one from his days as Daniel Harper, the one that cost someone dearly, is the key to this mystery. He's always believed it was a single moment, a single choice that went wrong, but now, a memory is surfacing, jagged and incomplete, that suggests he might have been wrong about what happened all those years ago. In his mind, he sees flashes of that city life, the friend he betrayed, the promise he broke, but now there's a new detail, a third person, someone he'd forgotten, someone who was there when it all went down. Was it the woman in the photograph, the one who might be Emily's mother or the scarf-wearing stranger? Or was it someone else entirely, someone who's been manipulating things from the shadows? The memory is slippery, like a dream he can't hold on to, and it's driving him crazy because it contradicts the guilt he's carried for decades. If he didn't betray his friend the way he thought, then what really happened? And why is it coming back now, through cryptic notes, stolen journals, and rusted keys? You're feeling that frustration, aren't you? The way every answer seems to split into more questions, the way Father Daniel's past is a puzzle with missing pieces. And then there's Tom, still clutching that key, his jaw tight as he watches Father Daniel's face, like he's waiting for a confession. Tom's story about finding the key where it shouldn't be is starting to sound flimsier, and you're wondering if he's holding back, if he's the one who took the journal or the photograph, if he's the one leaving these notes to push Father Daniel to the edge. The motives are murky, and everyone's looking shadier by the minute, making you question who's friend, who's foe, and who's been lying all along. As the tension climbs, Father Daniel's world feels like it's closing in, the obstacles multiplying faster than he can handle. He tries to focus, to make sense of the note to Emily, the missing photograph, the key, but every move he makes seems to invite more trouble. He decides to search the church, thinking maybe the journal or the photograph was hidden there, but instead, he finds something else: a small, locked box tucked behind the altar, covered in dust, with the same rusted patina as the key Tom's holding. His heart races as he realizes the key might fit, but before he can try it, Margaret appears, her voice sharp, telling him to leave the box alone, that it's not his to open. Her tone is different now, not just protective but almost desperate, and it's got you wondering what she's hiding, what's in that box that's got her so rattled. Is it tied to the journal, to the betrayal, to the woman in the photograph? Father Daniel's starting to see enemies everywhere, and you're right there with him, your trust in these characters fraying as the mystery deepens. And then, just when you think it can't get more intense, Emily drops another bomb. She's been getting anonymous texts, not just the note, warning her to stay away from Father Daniel, to let the past die. The texts mention a date, July 17, 1995, the same date Father Daniel remembers as the day his life as Daniel Harper fell apart. You can feel the stakes skyrocketing, can't you? Because now it's not just Father Daniel's past, it's a shared history, a secret that's pulling in Emily, maybe Tom, maybe Margaret, and turning this small town into a pressure cooker ready to explode. You're dying to know what happened on that date, what the box holds, what the key unlocks, and who's behind these messages, but the answers are still out of reach, and it's driving you wild. Here's where I leave you hanging, because I want you to feel that ache, that need to keep watching, to unravel this tangle of lies and secrets. Father Daniel's standing in the church, the locked box in his hands, the key still with Tom, who's watching him like a hawk. Emily's on the verge of tears, her phone buzzing with another anonymous text, and Margaret's in the doorway, her eyes pleading with Father Daniel to stop, to walk away before it's too late. But he can't stop, not when the note to Emily echoes his own warnings, not when the date July 17, 1995, is burned into his memory, not when the truth about his betrayal might be a lie he's told himself for years. And then, as the storm outside picks up again, rattling the church windows, Father Daniel notices something chilling. The envelope in his pocket, the one with the stranger's letter, feels lighter, like something's missing. He pulls it out, his hands shaking, and finds a small tear in the corner, as if someone's tampered with it. Did someone take something from the letter? Or worse, did they add something that could change everything? You're screaming inside, aren't you? Wanting to know what's in that letter, what's in the box, who's sending these texts, and what really happened all those years ago. You're not alone, I'm right there with you, my pulse racing as we teeter on the edge of this mystery. Keep watching, because the next part's going to shake you to your core, and you won't forgive yourself if you miss it. You're still here, aren't you? I can feel your pulse racing through the screen, your eyes locked on this story as we stand in the heart of St. Mary's Church, where Father Daniel's world is spiraling into chaos. That moment with the tampered letter, the locked box, Emily's cryptic texts, and Tom's accusing glare, it's got you hooked, and I'm not letting you slip away now. The power of destiny, a priest's life-changing story, is taking a darker turn, and I'm talking straight to you, pulling you deeper into a mystery that's no longer just a puzzle, it's a threat, a shadow that's tightening its grip around Father Daniel and everyone he cares about. The storm outside is raging, mirroring the storm inside him, and you're right there, feeling the weight of every choice, every fear, every unanswered question. This isn't just about secrets anymore, it's about survival, about a man realizing he's not just chasing the truth but running from something far more dangerous. I want you to feel the urgency, the paranoia creeping into Father Daniel's bones, the sinking dread that is in over his head. We're diving into his thoughts, his heart, as something drastic shakes him to his core, making it clear he's not just in trouble, he's in serious danger. The stakes are sky high, and I'm going to keep you guessing, raising more questions than answers, leaving you desperate for what's next. Don't even think about looking away, you're too deep in this small American town's secrets, and this story's about to get real. Let's go. The church feels colder now, the flickering candlelight casting jagged shadows on the walls as Father Daniel clutches the torn envelope, his fingers tracing the tear as if it could tell him who's been in his pocket, who's been close enough to touch the letter that's haunted him since the stranger's visit. Tom's still holding the rusted key, his eyes boring into Father Daniel, while Emily's clutching her phone, the anonymous text about July 17, 1995, glowing on the screen like a warning from the past. Margaret's plea to leave the locked box alone lingers in the air, her voice trembling with something that feels like fear or guilt. Father Daniel's mind is a storm of its own, thoughts colliding as he tries to make sense of it all. The stolen journal, the missing photograph, the notes, the key, the box, and now this tampered letter. He's been clinging to the hope that he can unravel this mystery, that he can face his past as Daniel Harper and find redemption. But something shifts in this moment, a realization that this isn't just about his betrayal years ago. Someone's orchestrating this, someone who knows every move he makes, and they're not just playing games, they're hunting him. You can feel his dread, can't you? The way it settles in his chest, heavy and cold, as he looks at the faces around him, Tom, Emily, Margaret, and wonders if one of them is the hunter, hiding behind a mask of familiarity. His paranoia's growing, and yours is too, because every clue points to danger, and the truth feels like a trap waiting to spring. But before he can say anything, the church door slams open, the wind howling as a gust of rain sweeps in, and Margaret gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Father Daniel turns, expecting to see the stranger from the stormy night, but there's no one, just the empty doorway, the storm raging outside, and a single, chilling detail. A white rose, identical to the one left by the scarf-wearing woman months ago, lies on the threshold, its petals wet and bruised. You're frozen, aren't you? Because this isn't a coincidence, it's a message, a sign that someone's been here, watching, and they want Father Daniel to know it. The rose is the spark that ignites Father Daniel's fear into something primal, something that makes his heart pound so loud he can barely think. He steps toward the doorway, his breath shallow, scanning the darkness beyond the church, but the storm swallows everything, trees bending, rain lashing, shadows twisting into shapes that could be a figure watching or just his imagination running wild. He's not imagining the rose, though, and as he picks it up, its thorns prick his thumb, a bead of blood mixing with the rainwater. His mind flashes back to the scarf-wearing woman, her silent presence in the pews, the way she vanished after leaving that first rose, and now he's certain she's connected to this, to the notes, to the stranger, to the date July 17, 1995. But who is she, and why is she, or someone using her symbol, taunting him now? His thoughts are a tangle of guilt and terror, memories of his old life as Daniel Harper clawing their way to the surface. He remembers that date, the day he broke a promise, betrayed a friend, left someone behind in that city hundreds of miles away. But the details are fractured, and the more he tries to grasp them, the more they slip away, leaving only the sickening feeling that he's missed something crucial, something that's put him in this danger. He's starting to see threats everywhere, every creak of the church, every glance from Tom, every hesitant word from Margaret. Even Emily, with her tear-streaked face and trembling hands, feels like a question mark. Her texts, her mother's photograph, her sudden anger, they're too perfectly timed, and Father Daniel's paranoia whispers that she might not be a victim but a player in this deadly game. You're feeling it too, aren't you? The way trust is crumbling, the way every face in this story seems to hide a secret, making you question who's friend, who's foe, and who's been pulling the strings all along. As Father Daniel tries to steady himself, to push back the fear that's clawing at him, something drastic happens that makes the danger impossible to ignore. He decides to take the locked box and the key to his private study, away from the others, to figure out what's going on without their prying eyes. But as he's leaving the church, his coat heavy with the weight of the unopened letter and the box, he hears footsteps behind him, soft, deliberate, matching his pace through the rain-soaked streets. He turns, expecting to see Tom or Emily, but the street's empty, the storm blurring everything into a haze of grey. His heart's in his throat now, his breath coming in sharp gasps as he quickens his pace, the footsteps following, always just out of sight. You can feel his panic, can't you? The way it makes his skin crawl, the way every shadow seems to move, every gust of wind feels like a whisper telling him to run. He makes it to the rectory, slamming the door behind him, but the relief is short-lived. When he checks his coat, the letter's still there, but the locked box, the one he was carrying just moments ago, is gone. Vanished, like the journal, like the photograph, as if someone reached into his world and plucked it away. His knees buckle, and he sinks to the floor, his mind screaming that this isn't just a theft, it's a warning, a sign that whoever's after him is close, too close, and they're not afraid to show it. His thoughts spiral into a dark place, replaying every moment of the past few days, every face he's trusted, and he's starting to believe he's not just being watched, he's being hunted, targeted by someone who knows his every weakness, his every sin. You're right there with him, your own fear mirroring his, wondering who could be this bold, this precise, and what they want with a priest who's spent his life trying to atone. The emotional weight of this realization is crushing Father Daniel, and you can feel it in the way he's unraveling, his faith tested like never before. He's always believed in redemption, in the idea that no sin is too great to be forgiven, but now he's questioning everything, his past, his choices, even his calling as a priest. Sitting in the rectory, alone with the storm raging outside, he thinks about the people he's let down, the friend he betrayed on July 17, 1995, the life he left behind when he became Father Daniel. He wonders if this is his punishment, if the danger closing in is God's judgment or just the consequences of a life built on lies. His paranoia is eating him alive, making him second-guess every interaction. Margaret's warnings feel like veiled threats now, her loyalty a mask for something darker. Tom's sudden discovery of the key, his cryptic comments, they're starting to look like pieces of a plan, not coincidence. And Emily, with her texts and her mother's photograph, could she be the scarf-wearing woman's daughter, seeking revenge for whatever Father Daniel did all those years ago? The questions are piling up, each one sharper than the last, and you're as lost as he is, trying to separate truth from deception. Then, as if the universe wants to twist the knife, Father Daniel's phone buzzes with a new message, no sender, just a single line, open the letter, or she pays the price. You can feel the blood drain from your face, can't you? Because now it's not just about him, it's about someone else, someone close, and the threat is direct, unmistakable. Who's she? Emily? Margaret? The scarf-wearing woman? And what happens if he opens that letter, Or worse, if he doesn't. The danger's real now, no longer a shadow but a blade held to his throat, and Father Daniel's running out of time. Here's where I leave you, because I want you to feel that urgency, that desperate need to know who's behind this and what they want. Father Daniel's alone in the rectory, the anonymous text glowing on his phone, the torn letter in his hand, and the weight of a missing box, a stolen journal, and a rusted key pressing down on him. The footsteps in the rain, the white rose, the threat against she, they're all screaming that he's in deeper than he ever imagined, hunted by someone who knows his past better than he does. His fear is your fear, his questions your questions, and you're starting to wonder if anyone in this town can be trusted, if the truth is worth the cost it might demand. Is the scarf-wearing woman the key, or is she another ghost from a past Father Daniel can't escape? What happened on July 17, 1995, and why is it tearing his life apart now? And that letter, what's inside, and who will pay if he opens it? You're dying to know, and so am I, but you'll have to keep watching, because the next part of this story is going to plunge us even deeper into the darkness, and you won't believe what's coming. Stay with me, you're too close to the truth to turn back now. You're still glued to this, aren't you? I can feel your anticipation, your need to unravel the tangled web we've been weaving in this small American town, where Father Daniel's life is crumbling under the weight of secrets, threats, and a past that's hunting him down. That moment in the rectory, with the anonymous text warning open the letter, or she pays the price, the missing box, the white rose, and the rusted key, it's got you on edge, and I'm right here with you, whispering in your ear, urging you to keep going because the power of destiny, a priest's life-changing story, is about to hit you with a plot twist that'll turn everything you thought you knew upside down. I'm talking straight to you, pulling you deeper into Father Daniel's world, where the storm outside mirrors the chaos inside, and every step toward the truth feels like a step toward danger. Just when you thought you had a handle on this mystery, the stolen journal, Emily's cryptic texts, Tom's suspicious key, Margaret's warnings, I'm about to flip the script, revealing a truth so shocking it'll make you question every clue, every motive, every face in this story. Someone Father Daniel trusted, someone you've been watching closely, is about to drop a bombshell that changes the game, and you're going to be reeling, wondering how you missed the signs. The mystery isn't what it seemed, and the stakes are higher than ever, so let's dive back into this heart-pounding tale, you and me, and watch as the ground shifts beneath us, leaving more questions than answers and a hunger for what's next. Don't you dare click away, this is where it gets wild. Father Daniel's alone in the rectory, the storm battering the windows, his phone glowing with that chilling text, open the letter, or she pays the price. His hands shake as he holds the torn envelope, the weight of it heavier than ever, knowing that whatever's inside could either save someone or destroy everything. His mind's a battlefield, torn between fear for whoever she might be, Emily, Margaret, the scarf-wearing woman, and the growing certainty that he's being hunted, not just by his past but by someone who's always one step ahead. The white rose, the stolen journal, the missing box, the footsteps in the rain, they're all pieces of a puzzle he can't solve, and his paranoia's eating him alive, making him see threats in every shadow, every creak of the old rectory. He's about to open the letter, driven by desperation, when the door bursts open, and Margaret storms in, her face pale, her eyes wild with something that's not just fear, it's resolve. Before he can speak, she grabs his arm, her grip surprisingly strong, and says words that hit like a thunderbolt. Daniel, you've got it all wrong. The betrayal wasn't yours, it was mine. You can feel the world tilt, can't you? Margaret, the loyal housekeeper, the woman who's been by his side for 20 years, who's cleaned his home, shared his meals, warned him to stop digging, she's confessing to something that rewrites everything. Father Daniel's stunned, his mouth dry, as she pulls him to a chair, her voice low and urgent, spilling a secret that changes the entire shape of this mystery. You're leaning in now, your heart racing, because this isn't just a twist, it's a revelation that makes you question every moment, every clue, and wonder what else you've missed. Margaret's confession unravels like a thread pulled from a tapestry, revealing a hidden truth that's been buried for decades. She tells Father Daniel that back in 1995, when he was still Daniel Harper, living in that far-off city, she wasn't just a bystander in his life, she was part of it, a friend of the person he thought he betrayed, the one tied to that broken promise on July 17. Margaret wasn't always the small-town housekeeper, she had a different name, a different life, and she was there when everything fell apart. She says the betrayal Father Daniel's been carrying, the guilt that's shaped his life as a priest, wasn't his doing. He didn't break the promise. She did, manipulating events to protect someone else, someone whose identity she won't reveal, not yet. Her voice cracks as she admits she came to this town years ago, not by chance but to keep an eye on him, to make sure his guilt kept him silent, kept him from digging into what really happened. You're reeling, aren't you? Because all this time, Margaret's been the rock, the one constant in Father Daniel's world, but now she's confessing to a hidden agenda, to orchestrating a lie that's haunted him for decades. The journal, the notes, the white rose, did she have a hand in them, or is she as caught in this web as he is? Father Daniel's mind is spinning, his trust shattered, as he tries to process this bombshell. He remembers fragments of that old life, the friend he thought he failed, but now those memories feel like lies, and Margaret's confession raises more questions than it answers. Who was she protecting? Why is this coming up now? And if she's telling the truth, then what's the real mystery, and who's behind the threats? This twist changes everything, making you see the story through a new lens, and the stakes climb higher as Father Daniel grapples with what it means. If his betrayal was a lie, then the guilt he's carried, the life he's built as a priest, it's all been based on a facade, and that realization is tearing him apart. When she confronted Lila later that night, the apartment was cold, as if the walls themselves were bracing for the storm about to break. You knew, Maya's voice cracked, the weight of her conviction crashing against the disbelief in Lila's expression. You knew what they were doing. And you helped them. Lila didn't deny it. Her silence said more than a confession ever could. Instead, she moved to the kitchen, poured 2 glasses of whiskey, and slid one across the table. You think you're the first who tried to fight back? Lila's tone was icy, almost regretful. You're playing with people who write the rules, Maya. You break them, they rewrite the story without you in it. And just like that, Maya was caught in a spiral of moral collapse. TikTok had been flooded with cryptic posts tagged with #the vanishing files, #whistleblower exposed, and #power corrupts, a viral trend sparked by her anonymous leaks, but now the algorithm wasn't just pushing her message, it was painting a target on her back. Every follower, every share, every comment begging for the next drop of information made her feel both empowered and exposed. She was losing grip on what was real online attention or actual justice. Meanwhile, the people behind the curtain were no longer hiding. They were watching, waiting, preparing. As the clock approached midnight, Maya sat in the backseat of a rideshare heading toward an unknown location sent by an encrypted contact, her brother's voice from a recorded message playing on loop in her ears. Whatever happens, don't trade yourself for me. Promise me, Maya. But what did promises mean when every step forward carved another scar? Her hands curled into fists, her heartbeat pounding like a warning siren. She didn't know what she'd do when she got there, if she'd hand over the flash drive, or if she'd finally expose everything, even if it meant losing the last piece of family she had left. She was on the verge of something irreversible. There would be no reset, no undo, no hero's safety net. Only consequence. And the truth was coming for her next. The warehouse was colder than the night outside, the concrete floor slick with oil and time. Maya stepped into the shadows with her breath shallow, the flash drive clutched tight in her jacket pocket like a live wire. Every instinct screamed that she was walking into a setup, but staying silent meant more lives would be lost, more truth buried beneath curated headlines and viral distractions. The message she'd received earlier, a distorted voice on a scrambled call, said her brother was here, that this was the only chance to trade. But it was the silence that hit her hardest. No guards. No voices. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and the hollow echo of footsteps that didn't belong to her. From the far end of the room, a figure stepped into the glow. At first, she didn't register the face. It had been weeks since she'd seen Daniel, the one person who had stuck by her from the start. He was supposed to be tracking the data leaks, the one decrypting the files, the one she trusted with every raw secret she unearthed. But the look in his eyes wasn't relief. It was resignation. You weren't supposed to make it this far, he said, voice tight, unreadable. Maya's stomach dropped as the realization slammed into her like a wrecking ball. He wasn't the ally. He never had been. Daniel was one of them. What is this? Her voice broke through the thick air, laced with confusion and betrayal. You helped me leak everything. You said we were in this together. Daniel's smile was small, almost apologetic. We were. Until they made a better offer. Behind him, a wall-mounted screen flickered to life, showing a live stream of what looked like news anchors, but the feed wasn't public. It was surveillance, tight angles on journalists, activists, and even elected officials Maya had thought were allies. She saw her own face in the corner feed, time-stamped and tracked. They weren't just watching her. They were watching everyone. The conspiracy wasn't just about corruption or hidden crimes. It was a full-scale manipulation campaign, a digital war for control. Every leak, every viral tag like #darknetfiles, #truthhunted, #unseen control had been bait, designed to lure dissidents into revealing themselves. Her brother's voice crackled from a speaker overhead, weak but alive. Maya, it's bigger than you think. They're in the government. The media. The platforms. The signal was choppy, scrambled by interference, but the message was clear. She'd never been hunting a single shadow. She'd been walking through a minefield wired by the very people she once believed were untouchable. Suddenly, the warehouse doors slammed shut, locking from the outside. Red emergency lights flared, casting long, sinister shadows across the space. Maya darted to the side, ducking behind metal crates as bootsteps stormed in, armed, tactical, faceless. She fumbled for her phone, hit record on a live stream, and whispered into the mic, "They're here. They've infiltrated everything. If I don't make it out, know this, Daniel Hayes, the leaks, the surveillance, the manipulation, it's all real. They're using fear to silence the truth." She hit post, tagging it with every trending keyword that had once protected her and now exposed her. #LiveLeak, #government cover-up, #betrayed from within. Gunfire ripped through the silence as she ran, the flash drive still on her, UN uploaded, unfinished. Her only hope now was reaching someone outside the network, someone not bought, not broken. The betrayal cut deep, but the truth burned hotter. And Maya wasn't done fighting. The city was pulsing with chaos. News feeds were erupting in real time, timelines flooded with the livestream Maya had triggered before disappearing off the grid. #government cover-up, #final truth drop, and #digital war were trending faster than moderators could bury the tags. In the dead heart of the city's financial district, beneath the headquarters of a media conglomerate known only for its glossy neutrality and billionaire board, Maya emerged from a maintenance tunnel soaked in sore water and adrenaline. Her chest ached from days without sleep, weeks without certainty, and a lifetime of holding her breath around people who claimed to care. The flash drive, now transferred to a hardened encrypted phone, buzzed in her hand like it could feel the pressure too. This was it. Everything was here. The data trails, internal communications, financial logs, black site blueprints, and the metadata that connected the disappearances of whistleblowers to accidents strategically reported by national networks. It was proof of the machine. And it led to one name. Catherine Monroe. Not a politician. Not a general. But the CEO of Horizon Sphere Media, America's most beloved neutral voice in the storm. She wasn't just the mouthpiece. She was the architect. Maya had one chance. Upload the files straight into the system during the company's nightly data sync when internal firewalls dropped for minutes at a time. One shot to let the truth detonate from the inside out, across every device Horizon touched, from smart TVs and curated news apps to schoolboards and election screens. But as she reached the 60th floor, heartbeat rising with each floor the elevator cleared, she didn't expect to find Catherine already waiting. Alone. Calm. Holding a glass of wine like this was nothing but a planned negotiation. "You made it further than most," Catherine said, her voice smooth and measured, like an anchor delivering a weather warning. "But you don't understand what you're really holding. It's not just evidence, it's a loaded weapon. You leak this, you don't fix the system. You burn it to the ground. Do you know what happens when the people don't trust anyone anymore?" Maya's fingers hovered over the device, thumb ready to initiate the timed upload as a server light blinked nearby, indicating the open sync window. But Catherine stepped closer, sliding a tablet across the marble desk. On screen, a live feed of Maya's brother. Still alive. Still captive. But this time, the screen split, showing another feed. Her father. The man she thought had died years ago, now in a holding cell under a different name, used as leverage for someone else's silence. The floor beneath her cracked open without warning. Catherine's words struck like steel: upload the files, and they both vanish. Or walk away, and they live. You get your family. You disappear. No more war. The seconds ticked. Maya's mind screamed, clawed, begged for an answer that didn't exist. All the voices online chanting for justice, the millions behind #free the feed and #expose the network, none of them were here now. Just her. Alone in a room with a devil dressed in glass and gold. And then it clicked. The unexpected twist. Maya didn't need the company's servers. Her livestream had already gone viral, but it wasn't what she showed the world that mattered. It was what they saw afterward. The very moment she posted the leak, the system began auto-flagging her followers, censoring accounts, freezing bank apps, and scrambling devices. The exposure wasn't just the data. It was the overreaction, the purge, that confirmed everything. Catherine had triggered it herself by trying to silence her too fast, too publicly. It was already too late. Maya smiled, slow and broken. You just proved everything for me. Sirens wailed in the distance, not from police, but from the people. Protesters were flooding the streets, not with signs, but with offline drives, hard copies, live interviews, printed screenshots. The machine had eaten too much, and now it was choking on the truth. Catherine's expression faltered, just slightly, as Maya dropped the phone on the desk. Upload finished. And in that final moment, with the building's power flickering, alarms blaring, and thousands of screens across America lighting up with the message "you were lied to," Maya turned and walked away, not victorious, not safe, but free. Because sometimes, the real revolution doesn't begin with a war. It begins when the illusion finally shatters. The rain came down in slow sheets days after the broadcast, not in chaos or fury, but like the world was finally exhaling. The city, once a fortress of control, now wore cracks in its polished surface. Federal hearings ignited overnight, emergency patches to digital infrastructure rolled out in panicked waves, and people everywhere were waking up with the disorienting ache of realizing just how much they'd been told wasn't theirs to question. On YouTube, long-form documentaries under tags like #media manipulation exposed, #truth leaked, and #shadow control were racking up millions of views, dissecting the web Maya had risked everything to untangle. TikTok creators stitched her livestream into protest footage, turning her into a symbol not of victory, but of defiance. The real kind. The kind that wasn't pretty, wasn't packaged, and didn't end with a clean arc. The kind that cracked something open and dared you to look inside.